láàárọ̀ yìí pé a kó ìsinmi òní àsìkò oṣù titun. Àdúrà mi fún wọn ní pé oṣù yìí máa gbìyànjú lórúkọ Jésù, ọkàn rẹ̀ sì máa balẹ̀, ìlérí lọ́run máa ṣẹ mọ́ ọ lára. Ní oṣù kẹwàá yìí lórúkọ Jésù ó máa rí àánú gbà. Ọ̀rọ̀ bàtà máa ń gbọ́ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ọ̀sẹ̀ òun rèé. Bíbélì pé níbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ bá ti wà ó ní agbára ọ̀nbẹ̀ńbẹ̀. Láàárín ìṣẹ́jú díẹ̀ tá a máa ra agbára ń bẹ níbí ó sì gbàdúrà wípé ohun tí ọba àwọn ọba nìkan lè ṣe nínú ayé rẹ̀ ó máa fa lórúkọ Jésù Kristi. Ní oṣù yìí ohun tá a máa gbéyẹ̀wò òun ni ọ̀rọ̀ a máa gbára níyànjú nínú ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run. A sì máa ṣàkíyèsí kí láwọn nǹkan tí Olúwa fẹ́ ká mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹnìkankan. Ọ̀rọ̀ òní ó kan ilé rẹ, ó kan iṣẹ́ rẹ, ó kan ẹ̀mí rẹ, gbogbo agbọn ayé rẹ ló kàn. Mo sì bẹ̀ pé kó máa fọkàn bá mi lọ. Ìwé Míkà orí 7 ẹsẹ̀ 8 bẹ́ẹ̀ pé má yọ̀ mí ìwọ ọ̀tá mi, nígbà tí mo bá ṣubú èmi ó dìde, nígbà tí mo bá jókòó ní òkùnkùn Olúwa yóò jẹ́ ìmọ́lẹ̀ fún mi. Ẹ kí hallelujah. Ibi tá a kà yìí ó jẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbàgbọ́ lẹ́nu wòlíì kan. Ibi tá a kà yìí fìdí múlẹ̀ pé wòlíì yìí ní ìlàkọjá. Wá gbọ́ mi o, tí wòlíì Ọlọ́run bá ní ìlàkọjá mélòó ni wọ́n, tí àwọn wòlíì ìgbàanì bá ní ìlàkọjá tiwọn mélòó lè ní. Ó túmọ̀ sí pé ó ṣeé ṣe fún èèyàn láti ṣubú, ó ṣe fún èèyàn láti kùnà. Owó tí bàtà bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọdún yìí gbogbo ìlérí tó ló máa ṣe fún ara rẹ, fún inú iṣẹ́ ìsìn rẹ, sí ẹbí rẹ, sí àwọn tó súnmọ́ níbi iṣẹ́ rẹ, ó máa ṣe wọ́n. Nígbà wo wá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣe àṣàrò bá ti wọnú oṣù kẹsàn-án bẹ́ẹ̀ láyé mi ṣe rí. Agbóná oṣù kẹwàá náà ó ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé báwo láyé mi ṣe rí yìí gbọ́ mi. Mo ò ṣubú kò lóòrìn dìde o. Wòlíì yìí ní ọ̀rọ̀ fún wa, ó ń gbà níyànjú nípa ìlàkọjá ara rẹ̀. Wọ́n sì fẹ́ kó wọ́n bá mi kan nǹkan mẹ́rin mo fẹ́ kó wọ́n bí tá a kà láàárọ̀ yìí, nǹkan mẹ́rin. Nǹkan àkọ́kọ́ òun lẹni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀. Wòlíì Míkà ló ń sọ. Ohun tó sì ń sọ yìí ó jẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbàgbọ́. Tó o bá ṣubú ara ó máa lè dìde. Tó o bá ní ìjákulẹ̀ ó máa lè tún kó. Bí nǹkan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ sọ́tọ́kàn rẹ ò fẹ́ bó bẹ́ẹ̀ni rẹ bá sì wà. Bíbélì sọ ní ìrètí ń bẹ fún jẹta gbé lórí. Tó bá gbóòrò mi ló máa dìde. Ìwé wòlíì Míkà gbà á níyànjú pé tó o bá ṣubú bí èmi náà. Ó ní ọ̀tá mi má yọ̀ mí. Ẹni kejì ni. Ẹni àkọ́kọ́ lẹni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀. Lóòótọ́ mo ti ṣubú o, mo ṣàṣìṣe o, èyí tí mo ṣe yìí ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó o. Ó wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní bá ọ̀tá rẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀. Ǹjẹ́ o mọ̀ pé lára ohun kan tó máa ń ba ayé èèyàn jẹ́ jù òun ni kó wà láàárín àwọn tí wọ́n ràn án lọ́wọ́. Àwọn tó yẹ kó gbé ìdílé wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ ibi sí ẹni wọ́n ti bá a sọ nípa Jóòbù lóṣù tó kọjá. Àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ̀ tó yẹ kó gbà á nímọ̀ràn wọ́n ń nà án ní ẹgbà wọ̀rọ̀. Ìyàwó rẹ̀ tiẹ̀ ní ó sì sí Ọlọ́run kó o sì kú. Lónìí aríwò wòlíì yìí tó ní ọ̀tá mi ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní bọ́ta rẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀. Kí ló bọ́ta rẹ̀ sọ fún mi? Pé ayé rẹ̀ ó dáa. Wo èmi náà mọ̀ pé àwọn ọ̀tá rẹ̀ ò fẹ́ fún rẹ̀. Mo mọ̀ pé àwọn ọ̀tá rẹ̀ ò fẹ́ wọn ò fẹ́ kó o débi tó ń lọ. Ọ̀tá sì pọ̀ lóríṣiríṣi o. Ọ̀tá inú ilé ń bẹ, ọ̀tá òde ń bẹ, ọ̀tá abiṣẹ́ ń bẹ, ọ̀tá inú ìjọ ń bẹ, ọ̀tá àdúgbò náà ń bẹ. Ṣùgbọ́n èyíkéyìí tó wù kó lè máa kọjú ìjàgbá ọ́. Wòlíì yìí ń gbà wá níyànjú. Ó kọjú sí ọ̀tá. Ó ní ọ̀tá mi má yọ̀ mí. Lóòótọ́ mo ṣubú. Ọ̀tá mi má yọ̀ mí. Lóòótọ́ mo ṣàṣìṣe. Ọ̀tá mi má yọ̀ mí. Lóòótọ́ lo mo àṣírí mi ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀. O fẹ́ lò ó lòdì sí ayé mi. Ó ní ọ̀tá mi má yọ̀ mí. Bí mo bá ṣubú kí ló rí o? Ó ní mo máa dìde. Nǹkan méjì ni wòlíì yìí sọ. Ó sọ nípa ìṣubú, sọ nípa òkùnkùn. Àwọn méjèèjì ó jẹ́ àwọn ohun èlò tí máa ń ba ayé èèyàn jẹ́. Bí èèyàn bá ṣubú nígbà míì ó máa ń ṣòro láti dìde. bí èèyàn bá ṣubú ìtìjú ò ní fẹ́ gbéra ńlẹ̀ mọ́. bí àwọn náà ṣubú wọ́n á fẹ́ dìde kó tó dìde ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní wọ àyíká ìṣubú rẹ̀ sì lágbára. wòlíì ní òkùnkùn ó tọ́ka sí iṣẹ́ òkùnkùn. òkùnkùn máa ń pa ìmọ́lẹ̀ ní ayé ènìyàn ni. òkùnkùn máa ń ba ọjọ́ lọ́wọ́ ènìyàn ni. òkùnkùn máa ń fẹ́ dé èèyàn síta ní o. níbi tí òkùnkùn bá ti farahàn ìtìjú máa ń bẹ ìtìjú ń bẹ ń bẹ. níbi tí òkùnkùn bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣiṣẹ́ kò sí ohun tí èèyàn lè kó jọ tó lè jèrè ń bẹ. iṣẹ́ òkùnkùn iṣẹ́ asán ni lónìí mo gbàdúrà fún ọ gbogbo ìfihàn òkùnkùn lórí ayé rẹ lónìí lórúkọ Jésù ìmọ́lẹ̀ ayọ̀ ó tọ̀ fún lórúkọ Jésù. mo ní ìmọ́lẹ̀ ayọ̀ tọ̀ fún ayé rẹ ó tọ̀ sí iṣẹ́ rẹ ó tọ̀ sí ẹ̀mí rẹ ó tọ̀ sí okòwò rẹ. iṣẹ́ òkùnkùn ó tẹ̀sán ní sórí kìíní ó ní òkùnkùn sì bólẹ̀ Ọlọ́run ò sì bókùnkùn jà ó ní jẹ́ kí ìmọ́lẹ̀ kó wá bóyá o ṣubú bóyá ṣe òkùnkùn ní iṣẹ́ òkùnkùn lè mí sínú àṣeyọrí ènìyàn yóò sì bàjẹ́. iṣẹ́ òkùnkùn lè fa àwọn lórí ilé ènìyàn yóò sì sọ́dà ooru. iṣẹ́ òkùnkùn lè fa àwọn lórí àwọn téèyàn tó ń gbé àwọn tó kí ọ lánàá lónìí wọn ò fẹ́ rí ọmọ iṣẹ́ òkùnkùn nù. ṣùgbọ́n gbọ́ wòlíì yìí ní ọ̀tá mi má yọ̀ mí tí mo bá ṣubú tí mo rìn lókùnkùn ọgbọ́n tó rí mo máa dìde lórúkọ Jésù ó máa dìde. gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nu mi lórúkọ Jésù mo ní ó máa dìde. ara gbọ́ mi ìdìde rẹ ó máa ya ọ̀tá ẹ̀ lẹ́nu lórúkọ Jésù. mo ní ìdìde rẹ ó máa ya àwọn ará ilé rẹ lẹ́nu lórúkọ Jésù. lóòótọ́ ló ṣubú ṣùgbọ́n ìṣubú rẹ kọ́ ni ìgbẹ̀yìn ayé rẹ dìde. gbọ́ lórúkọ Jésù mo ní kó o dìde. gbọ́ lórí ọkọ̀ yẹ mo ní kó o dìde. nínú ìpè tá a pè ọ́ tó o ṣubú sí yẹn lórúkọ Jésù mo ní kó o dìde. ẹni tí ò bá dìde ń tiẹ̀ gbé ó mà ní dìde. wòlíì yìí ní ọ̀tá mi má yọ̀ mí o bí mo bá ṣubú èmi máa dìde. a sì rí i pé lóòótọ́ Olúwa fi okun fún ẹ̀mí rẹ̀. wòlíì yìí má dìde lórúkọ Jésù ó máa dìde. lórúkọ Jésù mo ló máa dìde. ẹ̀mí rẹ máa dìde. iṣẹ́ rẹ máa dìde. ilé rẹ máa dìde. ní oṣù kẹwàá yìí lórúkọ Jésù ìrànlọ́wọ́ aláìlẹ́gbẹ́ lórúkọ Jésù ó máa wá orí. wọ ẹsẹ̀ kẹjọ yẹn ó ní Olúwa yóò jẹ́ ìmọ́lẹ̀ fún mi ní oṣù yìí lórúkọ Jésù. ọba àwọn ọba máa jẹ́ ìmọ́lẹ̀ fún ọ. mo ní ọba àwọn ọba ó máa jẹ́ ìmọ́lẹ̀ fún ọ. ọba àwọn ọba ó máa jẹ́ ìmọ́lẹ̀ fún. má gbàgbé o pé ní oṣù yìí oṣù ìdìde rẹ ni. mo ní oṣù kẹsàn-án tó o wò ó ti wọnú ẹ̀ ó sì máa parí pẹ̀lú ẹ̀rí lórúkọ Jésù. mo ní o máa dìde ọba àwọn ọba Ọlọ́run àwọn ọlọ́run ó máa jẹ́ ìmọ́lẹ̀ fún ẹ̀mí rẹ. má yẹ kókó kò gbẹ́rù bà ọ́. pàṣẹ kí ìmọ́lẹ̀ kó wá. pàṣẹ kí ìmọ́lẹ̀ sí wa. lọ́sẹ̀ yìí o máa rà àánú gbà. àánú máa wá orí. ìdìde rẹ lórúkọ Jésù kò ní nira. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni yóò sì rí ìbùkún ní fún olórúkọ Olúwa o Jésù Kristi Olúwa wa àmín.
Ọba ni Jésù. Ọba ni, ọba ni.
A nígbàgbọ́ pé Ọlọ́run ti bùkún yín nínú ètò pàtàkì yìí nítorí níbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ bá bẹ́ẹ̀ bí wà agbára ń bẹ níbẹ̀. ẹ tún darapọ̀ mọ́ wa láti gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ọba láti ẹnu àlùfáà Ṣọlá Ṣèbúlẹ̀yẹ ní àkókò ìkan náà ní ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. fún ìbéèrè ìmọ̀ràn tàbí ẹ̀bẹ̀ àdúrà ẹ pè sórí 0805 634 1443 0805 634 1443 tàbí kí ẹ jọ́sìn pẹ̀lú wa ní Ene Baptist Church ìsàlẹ̀ àpáta Ìgbé-Òsè Ìbàdàn Ìlọrin expressway Ìbàdàn àlàáfíà kòrí lórúkọ Jésù.
ọ̀rọ̀ bá ní ètò pàtàkì tí a gbọ́tọ̀ láti ìkànnì Amuludun 99.1 FM Moniya nílùú Ìbàdàn. àsìkò tó láti gbọ́ ìròyìn lédè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì láti olùṣẹ́ nílùú Àbújá. ẹ máa bá a kálọ.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
It's 7 o'clock. Good morning, Nigerians, and welcome to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. I'm David Umur. In the headlines this morning, President Bola Tinubu preaches unity and religious tolerance.
I inherit Islam from my family. So my wife is a pastor, and I never did at any single time to convince her or combat her. I believe in the freedom of religion.
Correspondent examines challenges of teaching profession as World Marks Day.
Challenges such as inadequate welfare, limiting teaching and learning materials, and dilapidated school infrastructure continue to hinder their impact.
Here in Nigeria, we have large classroom sizes, which makes it difficult for a teacher to provide individual attention to students, leading to poor academic performance. Second is inadequate funding.
CBN Governor tasks youth on innovation. Amnesty International raises concern over rising cases of drug trafficking. The commentary is on recognizing the role of teachers as lifelong mentors. You can follow us on Instagram and X at Radio Nigeria HQ and on Facebook at facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has described the mother of the APC chairman, Nana Lydia Yilwada, as a great woman who lived a dedicated life in humility and service to God. The president stated this during the funeral service of the late Nana Yilwada at the Church of Christ in Nation, Cooking Headquarters, Jos. The Catholic Archbishop of Ibadan, Most Reverend Gabriel Abegui, has admonished Nigerians who have committed crimes to face the consequences of their action, rather than mounting pressure on lawyers to prevent the course of justice. Most Reverend Abegui gave the charge at the 2025 legal year and Thanksgiving Mass, as well as the public lecture of the National Association of Catholic Lawyers, Ibadan, held at the Catholic Church of Ascension, Bodija, Ibadan. Most Reverend Abegui urged people to desist from inducing legal practitioners with money to evade justice, describing such acts as ungodly. The national president of the association, Mr. Edward Oga, advised stakeholders in the justice system to be courageous and work towards stamping out corruption, which has continued to hinder the sector's growth and speedy dispensation of justice. Retired Justice of the Court of Appeal, Justice Peter Ige, emphasized that quick justice could be attained if government appoints more judges and reviewed the constitution to include timelines for cases, irrespective of the social status or political affiliation of those involved. Delivering the keynote lecture entitled "Is There Hope for Justice in Present-Day Nigeria?", Professor Titilayo Deribibe of the Faculty of Law, Babcock University, Ogun State, argued that systemic reform alone could not guarantee justice without integrity at the heart of judicial practice. The University of Jos says it is working assiduously towards establishing a center of excellence in artificial intelligence, digital forensics and cybersecurity in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Tanko Ishaya, who stated this at the news briefing on the 50th anniversary of the institution, said the proposed center will be dedicated to advancing research, education and innovation in the field of artificial intelligence, digital forensics and cybersecurity. He listed challenges faced by the institutions to include take-off grants, insecurity, funding, land encroachment, high cost of power, infrastructural deficits and lack of adequate manpower. Professor Shah said they're holding the institution in trust and expressed its commitment to drive the university in the needed direction that the founding fathers envisioned. The VC used the occasion to announce the determination of the institution to host the 27th edition of the Nigerian University Games, NUGA, scheduled for November this year. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dugara, charged the alumni of the institution to always give back to the institution, noting that they're working on something that will change the outlook of the institution. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Mr. Yusuf Wike, has reassured residents that Abuja is safe and secure. He gave the assurance during the routine inspection of ongoing work on the Wuye district infrastructure and the federal highway from the Umar Musa Yaradua Expressway to Kuje Township. Mr. Wike emphasized that there is improved security in the FCT compared to what obtained in the past, stressing that isolated incidents of insecurity do not define the city's overall safety. Mr. Wike revealed plans to award contracts for refuse disposal within the next 2 weeks, promising to select only competent contractors with the capacity to ensure that the city remains clean. On the project inspected, the FCT minister expressed satisfaction with the progress of work, noting that the 8-lane airport road to Kuje Dual carriageway will significantly reduce travel time to 15 to 20 minutes when completed. The North Central Development Commission, NCDC, says the commission will ensure equitable allocation of resources and development in the region. A statement by the Executive Director, Corporate Services of the NCDC, James Uloko, noted that the Commission, in executing its mandate, will work closely with all stakeholders across the North Central states and the FCT to ensure equity and inclusivity. According to Mr. Uloko, the 2025 budget proposal of 140 billion naira was not altered, as been speculated in some quarters. The NCDC clarifies that the 2025 budget proposal is a working document which is still in progress, adding that when finally passed, it will operate within the life cycle of the national budget. The Commission assures its stakeholders and the nation at large that it will operate in a transparent and accountable manner and also abide by financial regulations.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the national flag off of the integrated campaign of multiple vaccines and interventions, including measles, rubella, polio, human papillomavirus, routine immunization vaccines, and neglected tropical diseases interventions. The national flag off will be performed by Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on Monday, 6th October 2025, at the Banquet Hall of the State House, Abuja, at 10:30 a.m. Parents and caregivers, take your children aged 0 months to 14 years from 6th October 2025 to the nearest health center, designated vaccination post, or outreach centers for the vaccination. Leave no child behind. All vaccines are safe, effective, and free. Invited guests are to converge on the Eagle Square. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. Dr. Moniya, Executive Director, CEO, Announcer.
The parade has been dismissed, but sweat and blood have been shed. Browbeaten by the sun, facing dangers on the land, sea and air. Some died, some lost limbs to enemy foes. How can we take care of those alive and families of those gone? The Pensioner comes up every Wednesday on Radio Nigeria Network at 7 p.m. The Pensioner, powered by the Military Pensions Board. Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
As earlier reported, President Bola Tinubu has described the mother of the APC National Chairman, Nana Lydia Yilwada, as a great woman who lived a dedicated life in humility and service to God. The president stated this during the funeral service of the late Nana Yilwada at the Church of Christ in Nation, Cooking Headquarters, Jos. Correspondent Josiah Buzum reports.
The silver-colored coffin was ushered into the Cooking Church headquarters, surrounded by flowers and beautiful pictures of Mama Lydia Yilwada, where it was received by a large crowd who came to bid her farewell. They include President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who led and religious leaders, party faithfuls among others. President Bola Tinubu said the presence of dignitaries that graced the occasion is a testimony of the character and discipline of Professor Nentawi, which he believed he got from his mother. He called on Nigerians to learn to live with each other, irrespective of differences.
I inherited Islam from my family. I didn't change. But my wife is a pastor to pray for. And I never did at any single time to convince her or combat her. I believe in the freedom of religion. We are answerable to the same Almighty God.
President Tinubu appreciated the clergy for promoting peace, stability and friendliness. In a sermon on the topic, Time, the chairman, Provisional Church of Christ, Reverend Mudimka Seri, who read from the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 and 2 and also 9 to 12, noted that everything has its time.
That is why verse 2 says, it's time to plant and a time to uproot or a time to harvest. The words plant and also uproot or
Senate President Godswill Akpabio appreciated the cordial working relationship between the APC national chairman and the Plateau State Governor, Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State, who commiserated with the Netawe family, appreciated the efforts of the president towards tackling insecurity in the state.
I am determined more than ever to provide the leadership that will unite our people and ensure that our diversities are better managed in order to reduce the tension along traditional fault lines.
7 years, despite her strong will and determination to ensure that she gives the family the best.
My father was a missionary, anyone was nothing, but my mother earned all the money and she ensured that all of us went to some of the best secondary schools around.
While appreciating all those present for their offering and words of comfort, Professor Nenta fail. Speaking on behalf of the Progressive Governors Forum, President Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State appreciated the deceased for a life well spent. The chairman of Kokin Incorporated Trustees, Reverend Soja Biwaran, performed the funeral rites. The remains of Mama Lydia Yulwada Goshwe was later taken to Dungun in Kanke local government area, where she was laid to rest. From Jos, Joseph Zoom, Radio Nigeria.
Every year, the 5th of October is marked as World Teachers' Day. The day set aside to celebrate the milestones achieved by teachers in transforming the education system and to highlight the support they need to deploy their talents for the profession globally. In this report, Depriyo Uwene explores the challenges of the teaching profession and job satisfaction of teachers.
Teachers play vital roles in driving learning, innovation, and inclusion in schools and society. However, they are sometimes left with no collaborative structures to support them. With the theme of this year's observance, Recasting Teaching as a Profession, a proprietress, Mrs. Juliet Eden, who highlighted some challenges on the job, called for more support and collaboration among key players in the teaching profession.
Here in Nigeria, we have large classroom sizes, which makes it difficult for a teacher to provide individual attention to students, leading to poor academic performance. Second is inadequate funding. There is lack of professional development opportunities. Teachers need continuous trainings and professional development to stay updated with latest teaching methods and practices.
In the same vein, a teacher, Ms. Favor Dafe, decried the constant neglect of teachers' needs by the government and appealed for provision of teaching aids to enable them match up in this digital era.
Teaching profession can be enhanced as regards to modern technology. Good and sophisticated software should be available for teachers and both students to be used.
An educational principal, Dr. Collins Echekwu, advocated for inclusion and other beneficial rights for teachers globally.
To foster professional fulfillment and educational transformation in Nigeria, teachers should be supported in the following ways. 1. Promotion should be given to them regularly. 2. Allowances should be given to them.
This year's observance centers on the importance of mutual support, collaboration, and shared expertise among teachers and the educational systems to foster professional fulfillment. In Port Harcourt, Depriyo Uwene, Radio Nigeria.
Still on the day, all over the world, teaching remains one of the most vital professions shaping the future, promoting critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving. Also in this report, Reiki Agimba highlights the challenges faced by the profession as the World Marks Day.
Teachers are the foundation of learning, inspiring curiosity, fostering creativity, and equipping students with the skills to succeed in a challenging world. Beyond academics, teachers act as role model and instill discipline, empathy, and resilience, preparing learners to be responsible citizens and leaders. In today's digital world, teachers have evolved from mere conveyors of knowledge to dynamic facilitators, mentors, and lifelong learners. From rural classrooms with limited resources to virtual classroom connecting students across continents, teachers continue to adapt, proving their resilience and relevance. World Teachers' Day is therefore designated to honor and appreciate the contributions of educators worldwide. The day, which is observed every 5th of October, is is also an opportunity to reflect on the support teachers need. This year's celebration, which focuses on recasting teaching as a collaborative profession, highlights the transformative potential of collaboration for teachers, school, and education. The State Chairman, Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools, Niger State Chapter, Mr. Saliu Ibrahim, elaborates.
Despite challenges as a teacher, it resonates deeply with our mission to foster unity, advocate for teachers' welfare, and strengthen partnership with stakeholders to reform secondary education. However, challenges such as inadequate welfare, limiting teaching and learning materials, and dilapidated school infrastructure continue to hinder their impact.
Some Nigerians appreciate teachers for their noble role in society. Teachers have played a significant role in shaping who I am today. They have not only imparted knowledge, but also inspired me to believe in myself and strive for my best. Their patience, guidance, and encouragement have helped me overcome challenges and grow.
Teachers literally shape the foundation of my life, and they have continued to guide my path.
Some teachers in FCT highlight some of their challenges.
The main challenge is salary. I just think we promise how many percent now, but we've not seen it yet.
There are so many challenges we teachers face, especially those of us that work with the private sector, tend to minimize costs and maximize profits by having few teachers to take over so many subjects.
The respondent called for more investment in the growth and welfare of teachers to secure brighter future for generations to come. Happy Teachers Day in Abuja, Rekia, Gimba.
Of course, teachers are truly molders of the society. Moving on, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Olayemi Kadoso, has called on the youth to take charge of the country's future by leading with innovation, integrity, and inclusiveness. At the inaugural CBN Governor's Annual Lecture Series held at the Lagos State Business School, Pan Atlantic University, Mr. Kadoso says sustainable nation building must rest on credibility, transparency, and trust. Our correspondent Ebere Obike has the details.
The lecture with the theme, Next Generation Leadership in Monetary Policy and Nation Building, is part of the public understanding of monetary policy and fostering dialogue between policymakers, academics, and young leaders. Mr. Kadoso noted that the country's ongoing economic reforms were yielding results, citing a drop in inflation from nearly 35% to about 20%, a 4.2% gross domestic product growth in the second quarter of 2025, and an increase in external reserves to over $42 billion.
Leadership in monetary policy cannot be divorced from nation building. Price stability is essential, but in a country as young as Nigeria, it must go hand in hand with inclusion and economic diversification. Our task is to foster a stable macroeconomic environment where productivity thrives and opportunity flourishes.
Mr. Kadoso attributed these gains to decisive policy measures, including halting direct CBN financing of government's deficits and unifying exchange rate windows, which has stabilized the naira and improved Nigeria's credit outlook. Encouraging young Nigerians, who he described as the nation's most valuable asset, to embrace digital innovation and evidence-based policy making. According to the CBN governor, they must not only prepare to inherit leadership, but also redefine it for a stable and prosperous nation. CBN Director, Mr. Mohammed Zayed, described the lecture series as a collective platform between the Apex Bank and academic institutions to inspire and equip future leaders.
It's an initiative that we're very excited about. We hope that it will help to foster policy dialogue, a deeper understanding of monetary policy, especially how monetary policy interacts with nation building.
The event drew economists, academics, and students from universities across Lagos, reflecting the CBN's commitment to nurturing the next generation of Nigerian leaders through knowledge sharing and engagement. From Lagos, Iberi Obiki, Radio Nigeria.
A power engineer and immediate past president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Alhaji Tasiu Gidari Wudil, has urged the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, and the State Electricity Regulatory Commissions, SERC, to evolve a stronger synergy in driving policies to fast-track more private sector participation in electricity generation and distribution in the country. Alhaji Gidari Wudil, who made the call at the October Lecture 2025, organized by the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSE, in Abuja, said such synergy is the only way the inherent challenges in the power sector can be tackled to guarantee stable electricity supply in the country. Presenting a paper entitled Evaluating Nigeria's Power Sector Reforms from 2005 to 2023, a quantitative analysis of technical performance and regulatory impact, Alhaji Gidari Wudil attributed the lingering pilfering and leakages in the power sector to lack of stringent enforcement of policy guidelines.
Today, everybody wants to take free electricity, but you will not dare go to a filling station and fill your tank without. It's under government officials mismanage it, but we expect when there is a private sector involvement, that mismanagement is reduced.
Alhaji Gidari Wudil enjoined the NERC and the SERC at the state levels standards and rules to address service quality issues and dissatisfaction in the sector. The President, Nigeria Society of Engineers, Mrs. Margaret Oguntolaino, explained that the annual October lecture was designed to articulate the position of Nigerian engineers on critical national issues and engage stakeholders in both public and private sector to provide
Nigeria is confronted with several complex challenges, ranging from widespread poverty, food insecurity, and deteriorating infrastructure to healthcare inefficiencies and energy crisis. As engineers, we believe these are not abstract problems. They are really technical and solvable challenges, and we must rise to the occasion. It is my strong belief that government at all levels must begin to more deliberately engage Nigerian engineers to prefer practical, scalable, and homegrown solutions to our challenges.
Mrs. Oguntolaino maintained that stable electricity supply holds the key for the growth of micro, small and medium-scale enterprises responsible for driving the economy of any nation. The Commissioner for Education and Capital Development in Kwara State, Dr. Lawal Olalekon, has advocated incorporation of entrepreneurship and information technology into Islamic education curriculum to empower Muslims compete favorably in global economy. Dr. Lalekon made the call in Abuja at the 2025 Ashraf Islamic Foundation Annual Maulud Celebration. Tamilu Salihu completes the report.
The Maulud Nabi celebration, which brought together Muslims across the country and service to humanity. The keynote speaker, Commissioner of Education and Capital Development, Kwara State, Dr. Lawal Olalekon, emphasized that Ashraf Islamic Foundation activities reflect the true spirit of Prophet Muhammad, which centers on enlightenment, knowledge sharing, and moral guardians. Curriculum to enhance productivity and socio-economic well-being of Muslims.
We have to look at the curriculum of Islamic knowledge, both in the core traditional Arabic schools and even in the universities. Entrepreneurship has to be part of whatever Muslims are learning now. Information technology has to be there.
Senator Ibrahim Olorugbe, who chaired the occasion, encouraged Muslims to emulate Prophet Muhammad's virtues by giving alms to the needy.
For those that are rich, in addition to their contributing their zakat, they should as well increase their sadaqah. The other thing is to decrease ostentatious spending, because
Islamic Foundation Imam Sharafuddin Alayagan stressed the need for Muslims to rekindle and strengthen their faith in God in the face of growing worldly challenges.
The issue of faith and resilience, as far as Islam is concerned, is very, very germane. So that faith has to be of those who claim to have faith in God.
The event, which had in attendance community leaders, representatives of service chiefs, featured prayers, lectures, and recitations highlighting the Prophet's message of compassion. In Abuja, Tinu Musali, Radio Nigeria.
President Bola Tinubu says his administration is streamlining partnerships to boost collective security. President Tinubu stated this in a message to the public presentation of a book written by a former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, entitled Nigeria's Journey and the Boko Haram Conundrum, an eyewitness account. Represented by the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, President Tinubu explained that his administration was investing in the whole-of-society approach to security so that peace is not only won on the battlefield, but sustained in daily life with the participation of citizens. Moniya reports.
Prior to serving as the 17th Chief of Defense Staff between January 2021 to June 2023, General Lucky Irabo had served as Deputy Theatre Commander and Theatre Commander of Operation Lafia Doli, meaning Peace by Force, a counterinsurgency operation against Boko Haram and other extremist groups in the northeast of Nigeria. He also served as Force Commander of the Multinational Joint Task Force, spearheading the regional stabilization strategy of the Lake Chad Basin. These experiences formed the authority on which he wrote the book, recollecting his experiences on field as he coordinated the operations against Boko Haram. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, described General Irabo's work as a reminder that every scar the insecurity brought on Nigeria is both a warning and a lesson reminding citizens never to forget the cost of peace and never to abandon its pursuits.
The scars we carry as a nation are evidence of our resilience. They remind us of the sacrifice of our heroes past, soldiers, displaced families and communities. This book indeed.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who wrote the foreword to the book, questioned why Boko Haram still remained a threat after over a decade and despite the efforts of 4 administrations to tackle the menace.
We can't go on this way, and something must be done, and the beginning of something.
And said there was need to adopt an unconventional approach to tackling the insurgency.
It's not a matter of a single story, but I believe as a nation we have to look at the process of Boko Haram and approach it differently.
The author of the book, General Lucky, solutions to the various security challenges in the country.
The approach in this book is a painful truth as I see it. It is my hope that it will elicit a national conversation which is aimed at focusing attention on credible solutions to the nation's challenges.
And traditional leaders and media executives, including the Director Generals of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Dr. Mohammed Bulama, and Voice of Nigeria, Malam Jibrin Ndache, in Abuja, Musha Radio, Nigeria.
Callers in Radio Link want part. Radio Link, a Radio Nigeria audience participatory program which focused on Nigeria at 65, celebrating our past, building our tomorrow. One of them is Zagwe Ibrahim from Abuja, said creation of Regional Development Commission was commendable, but powers needed to be devolved too.
I must comment. This is a point we should start from. It should go beyond just mere commission. Let us put a legislation to it. Let us have regional president and then a president general at the center. Because ours is too concentrated at this center, that is why you see high level of do or die.
Bakar Musa from Bida, Niger State, appealed to leaders to live up to their responsibilities.
I'm calling on the leaders at the helm of affairs to ensure that they live up to their own responsibility and they should try to be very patriotic. Nigeria is a country that is left with abandoned and human resources. Our population is that our educational sector is properly founded. We will go a long way in developing this country.
A guest on the program, a professor of public sector management and governance, Gabriel Okeltomoti, urged the present leaders to emulate the vision of past leaders by tapping the abundant resources for the benefit of the citizens.
You talked about the natural resources. Definitely we have it. But then it has been a case of a paradox of plenty and poverty coexisting together. You also talked about our performance. I think our performance can be described as underperformance based on the quality of human resources we have.
Another guest, the public affairs analyst, Mr. Jide Ojo, said the country had recorded some modest achievements, but more needed to be done. Governor Alex Oti of Abia State says he is poised to turn Abia into a world-class economic center. The governor stated this during the commissioning of the state, where he reaffirmed his administration focused on developing Abia's economy. The Abia State governor says he is not in competition with any state, but with global economic powerhouse like China and Dubai. Oti's reaction followed calls by the Deputy Speaker of House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, for President Bola Tinubu to intervene in the Lagos demolition which had affected many Igbo's families. 30 minutes past 7, you are listening to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. In the headlines this morning, President Bola Tinubu preaches unity and religious World Marks Day. CBN Governor tasks youth on innovation. And still to come, Amnesty International raises concern over rising cases of drug trafficking, plus sports news, commentary, cyberscope, newspaper headlines, and weather report. Please stay tuned.
This is to inform the public that the federal government will carry out mass vaccination campaign to protect children across the country from deadly diseases. Measles rubella vaccine for children 9 months to 14 years. Childhood vaccines for children 0 to 23 months. Polio vaccine for children 0 to 59 months. HPV for girls 9 years. Plus protection from malaria and neglected tropical diseases. Phase 1 started in October. In the southern states. After the campaign, routine vaccination continues in all health facilities. Vaccines are safe, effective, and paid for by the government. Don't wait. Visit your nearest health facility or vaccination site. Leave no child behind. This message is brought to you by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and partners. Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Amnesty International Nigeria has expressed concern over the rising cases of drug trafficking syndicates planting illicit drugs in the luggage of unsuspecting travelers at Nigerian airports, describing it as a major human rights concern that has sent many innocent Nigerians to prison or even death row abroad. At an awareness initiative held in Abuja to Johnny said the practice had destroyed lives and placed the reputation of the country under severe scrutiny. He noted that innocent Nigerians have been wrongly convicted in countries like Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and the United States due to criminal activities of drug cartels operating within Nigerian airports. Amnesty International's country said that the growing influence of drug cartels within Nigerian airports show how criminals are becoming increasingly powerful and operating above the law. The representative of CITAD, Mr. Buhari Abba, called the situation a disturbing reality that had tragically placed innocent Nigerians on death row in foreign lands and exposed deep weaknesses in the aviation and security system. The Director of Technical Services of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Mr. Ambrose Umaru, called for patriotism and vigilance among Nigerians and said the agency was exploring digital luggage tagging, real-time tracking systems, stiffer penalty for offenders, and public sensitization for first-time travelers to combat the practice. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, says billions of naira have been lost over the years because many federal institutions fail to follow guidelines for government IT projects. NIDA's Director General Kashifu Inua Abdullahi stated this during a courtesy visit on the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission ICPC Chairman Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Dr. Abdullahi therefore solicited ICPC support in ensuring government institutions comply with established guidelines for IT investments.
We have cleared more than 1,280 projects from 326 federal public institutions. Many are not compliant because we have more than 1,300 federal public institutions. Then also we've cleared IT project valued at more than 3.4 trillion naira. and we saved more than 316 billion from this.
Dr. Abdullahi explained that NICDA's clearance system was introduced to safeguard public funds, cut duplication, and align government IT investment with global best practices. NICDA's DG also revealed plans to work with ICPC in developing websites for local governments nationwide to boost transparency and accountability at the grassroots. Responding, ICPC Chairman Dr. Aliyu welcomed the initiative, stressing that corruption in IT procurement undermines the efficiency of both the public trust and the private sector. He assured that ICPC will use its mandate to support enforcement, promote ethical practices, and ensure safer digital services across federal institutions. Next, it's State House Diary.
Welcome to another edition of State House Diary. I am Hamza Al-Kali. President Bola Tinubu said his administration has improved tremendously in the areas of economy, education, technological advancement, and road infrastructure. In a broadcast to mark the nation's 65th independence tagged Message of Hope, President Tinubu said the Naira has stabilized while the economy improved.
The Naira has stabilized from the turbulence and volatility witnessed in 2023 and 2024. The gap between the official rate and the unofficial market has reduced substantially following FX reforms and fresh capital and remittance inflows. The multiple exchange rates, which fostered corruption and arbitrage, are now part of history. Additionally, our currency rate against the dollar is no longer determined by the fluctuation in crude oil prices.
The president noted that security under his administration had improved as peace returned to almost all areas affected by insurgency.
The officers and men of our armed forces and other security agencies are working tirelessly and making significant sacrifices to keep us safe. They are winning the war against terrorism, banditry, and other violent crimes. Peace has returned to hundreds of our liberated communities in the northwest and northeast, and thousands of our people have returned safely to their homes.
The president called on Nigerians to give maximum support to the government to collectively build a vibrant society for peace and progress. President Bola Tinubu explained that the APC-led administration was committed to addressing infrastructure deficit and improving the living condition of Nigerians. He gave the assurance in Owerri while inaugurating projects executed by the Imo State government. The president also unveiled a book written by Governor Hope Uzodinma on 10 years of APC administration in Nigeria. He appealed to Nigerians to continue to have faith in the APC-led government in its effort to bring prosperity to the people.
You can drive on roads that are solid, that may outlive some of us. You can dream big. Today your children are in school. No child should go to bed hungry and not able to study university. Today, Nigeria can say confidently we have a well-equipped hospitals and we can treat critical illness such as cancer and other illnesses.
Imo State Governor Chief Hope Uzodinma attributed the successes recorded by his administration to the economic policies of the federal government. He said the decision to write the book entitled A Decade of Progressive Governance in Nigeria was to contribute to deepening the party's internal education and public accountability. In another development, President Bola Tinubu commended the 68 billion naira upgrade of the National Theatre in Lagos into a world-class convention center for business, entertainment, and the creative industry, describing it as a proof that Nigeria is moving in the right direction. Speaking at the reopening ceremony, the president explained that the transformation demonstrates his administration's commitment to lifting the nation to greater economic heights.
Stop talking about Nigeria in the negative tone. This is a country of very proud people. We know what we are. It might not be the cost of education.
around the world. It's about ourselves.
The historic edifice, now renamed the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Art, was unveiled as part of activities marking Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary. Also last week, the federal government condemned allegations by certain international platforms and online influencers suggesting that terrorists operating in the country are engaged in a systematic genocide against Christians. A statement by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said such claims were false, baseless, and divisive. It explained that portraying Nigeria's security challenges as a targeted campaign against a single religious group was a gross misrepresentation of reality. According to the minister, the violence activities of terrorist groups were not confined to any particular religious or ethnic community, as criminals target all who reject their murderous ideology, regardless of faith. The statement advised all stakeholders to avoid ignorance, sensationalism, and divisive rhetoric, and instead support Nigeria's ongoing effort in the fight against terrorism and all forms of criminality. In another development, Vice President Kashim Shettima returned to Abuja after a week-long international mission that took him to the United States and Germany. Shettima, who represented President Bola Tinubu at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, delivered Nigeria's national statement pressing for comprehensive UN reforms and reaffirming Nigeria's sovereignty over its $700 billion mineral resources. He also secured a high-level partnerships with the United Kingdom, the Gates Foundation, and other global stakeholders, while highlighting Nigeria's $200 billion energy transition opportunities to international investors. In another development, President Bola Tinubu extended his heartfelt condolences to the families of Ms. Somto Chukwu Maduagu, the management and staff of Arise News Television, and the entire Nigerian media fraternity over the death of the news anchor during an attack by suspected armed robbers at her residence in Abuja. The president expressed deep sorrow over the news of the tragic passing of Ms. Maduagu, who he described as brilliant news anchor, whose life was cut short in a cruel and condemnable manner. Meanwhile, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, also launched a menstrual hygiene intervention program tagged Flow with Confidence, aimed at ensuring that no school girl missed classes because she cannot access sanitary products. In implementing the intervention, the First Lady announced that each state, including the Federal Capital Territory, will receive 10,000 packs of menstrual hygiene materials to be distributed through the state's First Ladies and coordinators of the Renewed Hope Initiative. And that's it on State House Diary, bringing you updates from the presidential villa. I am Hamza Al-Kali.
And from State House Diary, we now bring you sports. Flying Eagles of Nigeria set to make or break final group game at FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile. Alambo brings you details from the fascinating world of sport.
Flying Eagles of Nigeria captain Daniel Bameyi is hopeful that the team will advance to the knockout phase of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup Chile 2025. Nigeria take on Colombia in their final Group F clash at the Estadio Fiscal, Talca, from 12 a.m. on Monday, and will need to avoid a defeat to progress as Norway take on Saudi Arabia at the same time at the Estadio El Teniente, Rancagua. The Eagles are currently third in the group with 3 points, having lost their first game 0-1 to Norway, defeating Saudi Arabia 3-2 in their second, with the Bielsa United centre-back converting a 94th minute penalty to secure victory. Colombia topped the group with 4 points alongside Norway with the same number of points, while Saudi Arabia bottom with no points. Bameyi is believing Nigeria will get to the second round and go past their last performance in Argentina 2023, when they lost to South Korea in extra time in the quarterfinals after beating Italy in the second round. Meanwhile, coach Aliou Zibeiru is optimistic that his players will rise to the occasion against the Colombians to pick a ticket into the next phase of the competition, pleading with Nigerians to support the team.
I have
said it down without number. It's just there for us. We are not going to let them down. But the remaining parties, I believe, are going to have clean 6 points so that we can move ahead to the next level.
In today's fixtures at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, Whipping Boys New Caledonia face France as South Africa confront United States of America in final Group E ties billed to kick off from 9 p.m. On Saturday, Mexico beat Morocco 1-0 to pick a second-round ticket to finish second in Group C with 5 points, one behind the Africans who were group winners with 6 points, as Spain also brightened their chance of progressing with a 1-0 win over Brazil to garner 4 points, while the South Americans were bottom with just a point and were eliminated. 7 fixtures will hold today in the Nigeria Premier Football League. Ataba Enyimba International second in the table with 12 points clash with neighbours Rivers United, who are third with 11 points as Bayelsa United battle Ikorodu City in Yenagoa, while Barao FC host Warri Wolves in Enugu. Rangers ambush Katsina United, while Kwara United confront Abia Warriors. Niger Tornadoes take on Corn Khalifa as Shooting Stars square off against Plateau United. On Saturday, Nasarawa United continue their fine form in the MPFL as the Solid Miners beat Bendel Insurance by a goal to nothing away at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City. Garba Mohammed got the lone goal for the Lafia Bay side 3 minutes into stoppage time to take the Imboa Smart Boots coached Nasarawa United team top of the table with 16 points, while Insurance are 16th with 6 points. In the other game on Saturday, El Kanemi Warriors beat Kano Pillars 2-1 in Maiduguri to take them to 4th in the standings with 11 points as the Sai Masugida are 19th with 4 points. Dadi Abdurrahman scored twice on 60 and 81 minutes to give the Borno side a 2-goal lead as Suleiman Idris got a consolatory strike for the visitors on 89 minutes. In the same vein, head coach of Rangers International, Fidelis Ilechukwu, has backed his team to overcome their slow start to the 2025-26 Nigeria Premier Football League season. Ilechukwu gave the assurance in his post-match reactions after the Flying Antelopes twice came from behind to earn a 2-2 draw away to Wiki Tourist in a match-day 5 fixture. Ilechukwu also showered praise on scorer of both goals for his side, Godwin Obaji, on his return to Bauchi and against his former club.
We are so happy. We have worked so much hard for like 2 weeks because of the outstanding game. We use those days to work very well, and coming to Bauchi at 3 points is not just a joke.
General Manager of Rangers, Amaobi Ezeaku, backed Ilechukwu and the present crop of Rangers players such as Obaji to turn around the fortunes of the club for the better.
Obaji is a top player. He knows what to do in any given time. He's one of the best striker in the country, so I'm not surprised he do things like this in future because he has capacity, he has the quality.
Rangers, who are currently with 5 points after a win and 2 draws and a game in hand, are at home to Katsina United at the Cathedral, the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu today. 5 matches will be decided today in the Premiership, with Aston Villa locking horns with Burnley, Everton entertaining Crystal Palace, while Newcastle engage Nottingham Forest as Wolves take on Brighton in 2 p.m. kickoffs, while Brentford welcome Manchester City at 4:30. On Saturday, William Estavao scored his first goal in the 5th minute of stoppage time as Chelsea shocked champions Liverpool in a memorable 2-1 win at Stamford Bridge in London. Moses Caicedo scored first before Cody Gakpo equalized, but the 18-year-old Brazilian teenager had the final say in the match. The defeat takes Ancelot's Reds to 2nd position with 15 points as Enzo Maresca's Blues are 6th with 11 points. Earlier, Arsenal spanked West Ham 2-0 with Declan Rice scoring and Bukayo Saka converting a penalty as the Gunners now top with 16 points. Manchester United also beat Sunderland 2-0 with Mason Mount and Benjamin Sesko the scorers. Leeds lost 1-2 to Tottenham at home as Daniel Mohamed Kudus got the winner on 57 minutes to cancel out Noel Okafor's equalizer on 34 minutes as Spurs are third with 14 points. I am Alam Datoyi.
The commentary is on recognizing the role of teachers as lifelong mentors. It is written by Obumneme Okeje of our repertorial unit. Teachers are professionals who help students acquire knowledge, skills, and values in schools. Their role goes beyond providing information. They also support students' social and emotional growth and prepare them for the future. Teachers are respected worldwide as lifelong mentors, agents of change, and are valued for their role in education and national growth. In schools, they guide, discipline, and support students, while in communities, they serve as leaders, experts, and role models. It will not be out of place to refer to them as the torchbearers of knowledge and discipline. The origin of teaching dates to the prehistoric era, evolving from informal, practical knowledge transmission through observation and imitation
to more structured systems in ancient civilizations. Nonetheless, formal education emerged with ancient civilizations. Over time, teaching developed into a profession with distinct methods leading to the establishment of formal teacher training institutions in Europe during the Enlightenment era. Teaching began as an informal process of enculturation where children were taught practical skills for survival, while oral traditions and storytelling were crucial for transmitting cultural and religious beliefs and knowledge across generations. With the advent of agriculture and the development of larger communities, there was a greater need for specialized skills, leading to the first formal schools in Egypt around 2000 BCE and China. And then figures like the ancient Greek sophists, such as Protagoras, became one of the first professional teachers. The concept of formal teacher training began to emerge in France in the late 17th century with figures like Saint John Baptist de La Salle, who established the first teacher training institution. The system, however, spread throughout Europe and eventually to the United States in the 19th century, leading to the creation of the first university schools of education, like Teachers College at Columbia University. The Enlightenment era saw a shift from purely religious instruction to objectivity, laying the foundation for the modern academic systems and defining the nature of teaching as a profession. In Nigeria, for instance, Western education was introduced from the 1840s, and the first training institutions were established in the 1850s, and history has it that the late Babs Fafunwa was the first Nigerian professor of education. Teachers in that era were often seen as authoritative figures with a moral obligation to provide education, but that seemed not to be the case anymore due to the influx of untrained teachers who took up the job as the last resort. This development has greatly affected both the quality of teachers and the teaching standards. It is no doubt that teachers in both public and private sectors have over the years faced numerous challenges, and this has made the teaching profession often seen as less lucrative compared to other career paths. These challenges also lead to the shortage of motivated individuals, which encourages the Japa syndrome. Many public schools lack necessary resources and effective support systems, which makes the demanding nature of the job even harder. Again, lack of governmental and societal focus on the importance of child education has perpetuated a cycle where teachers' efforts are not recognized or adequately compensated. It is a good thing that the retirement age for teachers has been increased to 65 years of age and 40 years of pensionable service, and their salary increase was announced in 2020 by late President Muhammadu Buhari and was implemented in January 2022. While these are commendable efforts towards ensuring that teachers are compensated, more needs to be done, such as periodic salary review and quick implementation, training and retraining of teachers, provision of modern teaching materials and standard structures, if the desired standard of education and respect for teachers who are the unsung heroes of the modern era is to be revived. Teachers, as agents of peace, tolerance and understanding, on the other hand, should work on themselves to restore their lost glory. Ovie Kuje with our commentary on recognizing the role of teachers as lifelong mentors, as written by Obumneme Ukeje. Next is Cyberscope, bringing you top trends, shaping conversations around Nigeria's social media space, beginning with former President Goodluck Jonathan, that has cleared the air over his comments about former President Muhammadu Buhari and Boko Haram. Jonathan explained that his words were taken out of context. Buttressing his point, he said it was to show how the terror group often invoked the names of respected leaders to sow confusion, fuel political divide, and weaken public trust in government. Online reactions definitely have been on and on. Many praised Jonathan's clarification, saying some media platform twisted his remarks just to chase headlines. The controversy has reignited conversations about responsible journalism, fact-checking, and the danger of sensational reporting in Nigeria's digital space. That can't even be overstated now. And still trending is the Natasha versus Akpabio's court saga. The Federal High Court in Abuja has upheld the 6-month suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan
dismissing her case against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Supporters of Akpabio are calling it a win for order in the Senate, while others see it as another episode of power play and political silencing. Of course, the day I see all of us agreeing to one particular judgment, then I'll have to check my heartbeat. From there, we move on to newspaper headlines. Beginning with the nations, Tinubu to Northern Christians, I'll remain fair to all religion. I never said Buhari, Boko Haram were connected. Jonathan, that's still unclear in the air. Kwara killings, Abdulrazak Saraki in verbal war. Now to leadership newspaper. 2027, how opposition disunity could play in Tinubu's favor, with the riders' bottom line stating Jonathan, Atiku, Obi, Amici, others may not line up behind single candidate, while ex-Ondo governor to head former president's Southwest consultation team. And that's it for the newspaper headlines. We'll now bring you weather report. Sunny skies with patches of clouds are expected over the northern region, with prospects of isolated thunderstorms with moderate rains over parts of Taraba, Adamawa, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Kaduna states during the morning hours. Later in the afternoon, evening hours, isolated thunderstorms with moderate rains are expected over most parts of Kaduna, Kebbi, Sokoto, Katsina, Zamfara, Jigawa, Borno, Kano, Adamawa, Gombe, Bauchi, and Taraba states. To end the news, here's a recap of the major stories. President Bola Tinubu has called on Nigerians to embrace unity and religious tolerance. Correspondents have examined the challenges of the teaching profession as World Marks Day. CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso has called on the youth to take charge of the country's future by leading with innovation, integrity, and inclusiveness. We also reported that Amnesty International has raised concerns over rising cases of drug trafficking syndicates at the nation's airports. That's the news edited by Stanley Nwosu and the production team. My name is David Omoro. Enjoy your Sunday morning.
Kúrìrì onílẹ̀ títí kò ṣe bá fi gàgbága. Rédíò Amuludun 99.1 FM Moniya Ibadan, òdòdó orí ẹ̀ tó ń tàn yíndínyíndín ló fi tàwọn yọ. Fílẹ̀ má gbé kó ń bẹ̀.
ìròyìn àpapọ̀ lédè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì láti olùṣàdúrà Àbújá ní ẹgbọ́n tán láti ìkànnì Amuludun 99.1 FM Moniya ní ìlú Ìbàdàn. Láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà tí aago 8 bá ti lọ́dọ̀ tí wàá ń bí ìròyìn tí ó bá ní